Here we go. Just so everybody knows, it really lets you know. But so my name is Caitlin Mcguire. I am the Assistant Director of Engagement for the Health Sciences Campus for our Alumni Association. And as a School of Medicine alum, I am your point of contact in the alumni office. I actually just started in July, and so I look forward to getting to work more closely with our School of Medicine alumni as we get this council going. And then, of course, I'm being joined by Dean Gansel this morning. She is going to give you a bit of an update on the School of Medicine and, like I said, her goals for this council. And so, Dean Gansel, why don't you go ahead and take it away for us?
Okay, did you want to do introductions of people, Caitlin, because we've got a pretty small group, or do you want to?
That's great. I didn't even think about that. Okay. Since we had such a large group the other day, but yeah, let's go ahead and do that if people don't mind introducing themselves.
Okay, good. Tony Gansel.
John Roberts, medical school, 1976.
And John is also our Vice Dean for Graduate Medical Education. So alumni and a wonderful leader.
Kathy Immerman, class of 1981.
Nice to see you, Kathy.
Mark Mattingly, class of 1985.
Nice to see you, Mark. Well, actually, I can't see you, but I can see your name. So nice to have you here.
I'm bundled up and working remote today. And
okay.
Where I work in remote, it's freezing cold in the room.
Ooh.
Kathy Newton, class of 79.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Mama Tamaj-Mandar, class of 2000.
Oh, nice to see you.
Welcome. Oh, I'm gonna unmute. I was gonna say, I think Dr. Dunlany. Yep,
okay.
There we go. Yep.
Sam Dunlany, 73, retired internal medicine.
Nice to have you join us. Thank you, Sam.
And was that everybody?
I thought I saw Christian Furman. Christian, are you there?
Yes, sorry, I'm driving, but yes, I'm Christian Furman and I am class of 1996.
Yeah, and Christian is also medical director for our Traeger Institute for Optimal Aging.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, and drive safely. Always makes me nervous when people are on Zoom driving, but drive safely.
Thank you.
I think that's all the names that that I see. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate our morning crowd too. We had a huge evening crowd the other night, and it was just so heartwarming to see how connected many of our alumni feel. Now, we want to expand that connection as we go forward. There's so many wonderful, wonderful things going on at the School of Medicine. You know, I like to tell people that we are 184 years old as a School of Medicine, which is pretty old, but I think we have aged well. We really have seen just phenomenal growth and transformative change, and yet our mission is the same. And that's to improve the health and the vitality of our community and our Commonwealth and our world. And as we think about how we do that, we really think about the pillars of our mission, of our education mission, our research mission, our clinical care mission, our community partnership mission, and our diversity, equity, and inclusion mission, because all of those things are really, really important. We can't, it's just not a one dimension way of carrying out our mission. So there's some real high points and points of pride from this past year that I wanted to share with you. First of all, you know, accreditation is such a huge deal for medical schools, obviously. And we had an absolutely outstanding LCME accreditation report. If you those of you that recall back in 2013, there were some real challenges, but we have just absolutely transformed our educational program and our student experience, and built on good things and improved facilities and programs and integration and all of those things. It was absolutely an outstanding report that we're so proud of. Out of the 93 elements, there were only 3 elements that they've asked us to report back on. And those were pretty much transactional kinds of things, bylaw things and that kind of thing. So very, very proud of that. A real point of pride for us is our level of medical student engagement and satisfaction. And actually being on the LCME myself, and actually just the outgoing chair of the LCME, I see numbers from medical schools throughout the country. And our level of student engagement and satisfaction is in the mid to high 90s. That's just unheard of. Usually it's around mid 70s to maybe 80s. And we should be just extraordinarily proud. We just have some wonderful students and we stay very, very connected to them. On our research mission, we had this past year our best NIH year yet. We had a 23% increase in our funding and a 6-point jump in our NIH ranking. So lots of wonderful areas of research. If we kind of think about the standout areas, that would be in environmental health, in cardiovascular, in GI, in cancer, and in spinal cord injury. But we really have flagship programs in all of those things. In our clinical care mission, lots of really, really wonderful things have happened in the past few years, both on the adult side as well as on the pediatric side. I know most of you know that the university purchased, with the help of the state and 2 of our foundations, purchased the Kentucky One Louisville-based facilities. So Jewish Hospital, Fraser, Jewish East, Mary and Elizabeth, Peace, and then some of the other outpatient, the Bullitt County Outpatient Center, which is going to be a hospital, and the Northeast facility. So we kind of went out on a limb doing that with a leap of faith, but what we thought were some good financial assumptions, and the performance of that health system has so far surpassed what we absolutely thought was possible. It has made a huge difference to the School of Medicine, to the recruitment of faculty, and to access of care. Honestly, sometimes, particularly during the pandemic, I've thought, oh my gosh, what would have happened had Jewish Hospital closed? What would have happened if St. Mary and Elizabeth would have closed? I mean, this community would have been in big, big trouble. So we're very, very happy about that. It's made a huge difference for us. We also have a really close partnership now and a very integrated partnership for pediatrics with Norton Healthcare. That has kind of been strictly transactional for many, many years, but now it truly is a partnership and an integration, and that's going extremely well. We continue to refine our curriculum. We have also implemented an anti-racism health equity curriculum with all of the social justice challenges that we have going on, still remaining health equity issues going on. And so we believe that it really is important to prepare our students for shaping a better system. We also want to renew our focus on our alumni. And we've talked, oh gosh, probably off and on for years about kind of reactivating our alumni board. And Caitlin is helping us really bring that to reality now. As I think about what an alumni board could, what an alumni board could be, I would envision it of you all being a sounding board for us and a connection with the community, serving as an advisory board, helping us tell our story at every opportunity. And that means we need to tell you our story. We need to help you understand the great things that are going on at the School of Medicine. Certainly, we would absolutely appreciate you helping us raise funds, but raising funds is really kind of about telling a story that connects with people that feel connected with the School of Medicine and want to make a contribution and want to make a difference. And many of you have already done so. And then again, kind of as we tell our story and connect with others, I think it could be very helpful with recruiting the best and the brightest and the most diverse of our wonderful students throughout the Commonwealth, but also faculty, staff, and that connection, I think, can really make a difference. So we are very excited about getting this board going, and really appreciate your contribution. So thank you for joining us this morning, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If not, I guess, Caitlin, I'll turn things back over to you. Are you going to facilitate?
Yes, I'm going to take over from here.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Dean Gansel. It's always so great to have a vision to keep in mind as I'm talking about these next steps. So I really appreciate you stopping by this morning and talking about not only School of Medicine, but also to talk about the goals of our Alumni Council. So like I said, I am your representative within our alumni office. It was established in 1924, so we're kind of coming up on 100 years. And you do not need to, there's no dues, there's no application or anything to be a part of our Alumni Association. Just by being a graduate of the University of Louisville, you are a member of our Alumni Association. And we are located on the Belknap campus in the U Club. We're on the second floor of the U Club. So if you are ever down there, if you're members of the U Club, please feel free to stop by. We are upstairs. We love to have visitors. And with our Louisville Alumni Office, we're able to help with a lot of events. Our School of Medicine reunion that's coming up, communications to our alumni. We're the support staff for our Alumni Councils. And now our Alumni Councils, they exist to connect our alums with the university, but also with each other. And we have a variety of types of councils. We have affinity groups like our Women's and African American Alumni Councils. We have departmental and academic unit councils like our College of Business and our law school. And of course, we're starting this council with our School of Medicine. And now the purpose of the School of Medicine Alumni Council, like Dean Gansel said, all of those things in mind, be to further the mission, value, and the reach of the University of Louisville, our Alumni Association, and most importantly for you all, our School of Medicine. And so it's going to be a formalized group so that you as alums can connect to each other, the university, and the School of Medicine. I know none of us have enough time, so it's always good to make sure that we all know the time commitment going in. It's at least 4 meetings a year. We have the ability to do those virtually. So if people are not located here in Louisville, we are able to connect with our alums across the country. I think that is one of the great things that the pandemic, if there's anything that's great that's come about it, it's that we're able to connect with so many more people at a distance and being able to get people more involved that previously weren't given the opportunity. And then also any events that the School of Medicine Council decides to plan. Each council has different priorities and goals. Some councils have more social events, and some of those events are focused on fundraising, like our School of Nursing Council. They're currently planning a trivia night, not only to bring them together, but also to raise some funds for their council. But then our Orthodontics Alumni Council, they put on a continuing education event every year. Our School of Dentistry Council, they do a mentoring program that connects our alums with our current dentistry students. So we have a lot of different options. And one of the main things that I want to make sure that I really harp on is that this is a group for alumni, led by alumni. And so we can set forth goals, but our alums that are involved, and especially those that volunteer to take leadership positions on, are really going to help guide us as we get this Alumni Council started about the things that we want to be involved in as we move forward as a council. And then last, we do ask that as part of the Alumni Council, you do give back monetarily. We don't have a minimum gift though, but in order for us to put on programming, support these things that we would like to do as a council, we do need to have some funds for that. So we do ask that you give in some way monetarily. Now, you may also be sitting there and thinking, well, I can connect with people, I can connect with my cohorts without a formalized alumni association, or I can throw a game watch with my School of Medicine alums without the alumni office. But we are here to support you. We can help you with planning activities. We can help you to host event registration on our website, uflalumni.org. We can help you connect by getting you a class list, people to connect with. And then also you can receive up to $500 per fiscal year if the council meets some certain criteria that we have within our alumni office. Then we also have trainings through webinars in our alumni leadership conference that we host. And now that you know a little bit about the council, what it entails, let's talk about what's next. We will be sending out a formal interest form. This was step one, joining us this morning, learning a little bit more about what it means to be involved in the Alumni Council. So very much appreciate you taking that first step. But we will be sending out a formal interest form to be filled out, and then members will be chosen from that application. And we are planning on officially launching this council later this spring. And then I also want to make sure that I highlight that we do need volunteers for those leadership positions. Like I said, it is key to have a strong leadership to help move us forward. Like we have with Dean Gansel in the School of Medicine, I need some strong leaders on our Alumni Council as well to help give us ideas and kind of put some legs and do some legwork on these opportunities that we want to present to our fellow alumni.
Caitlin, I'm really glad that you brought up the mentoring piece, because our students love to connect with our alumni. And so whether it's a formal mentoring process or just a connection or also another sounding board, this would be a wonderful thing, not just for our Alumni Council, but for all of our alumni to do, because our students really do love it.
I think it's just wonderful when they're able to connect with people. And one of the things that I think we know is that people that are not given the opportunity to see the opportunities that are there, they don't know how to imagine them. And so you all as alum who have been there, have served over these many years, that you can give them insight, or even if you're just getting started, you can give something back to our current students. And I think that's always something that's really important, of even if some people don't have the monetary funds, by giving back their talent and their knowledge, that is just as important, especially to our medical students as they're going out into the world. And I think right now, knowledge, especially going out into the world currently, is so key for our doctors as they're getting out into the world. So really appreciate you all being here this morning and potentially helping with all of that. So that's kind of our presentation. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Or one of the things that we discussed the other night was, what do you all as alums want to see from this Alumni Council? I think that is something that, you saw the email that we're looking for volunteers. What made you want to volunteer for this council? We want to hear that as well.
Caitlin, do you have a list of duties for the volunteer leaders?
I actually do not have that kind of in a formalized way. It would be with a lot of our other alumni councils, the leaders usually have it's a little bit more of a time commitment. And with our School of Dentistry, like each person on our leadership council, they have a committee that they're in charge of. So they help lead that committee. We usually have a committee that's we would have a committee like for our mentorship program. We would have a committee for our fundraising, and that would be, you know, fundraising for the Alumni Council so that we can put on programs. And then, or like our orthodontics, they have a committee for our CE presentation that they do each year. So I would expect it would be something like that. But of course, like I said, this is a group for you, by you. And so it's really going to, as we get going, figure out what the committee or what the council wants to do, what those responsibilities will be.
Caitlin, can you give us some idea of how large some of the other councils are for other, say, schools, like, school, law school or what have you? And then what type of officer or leadership positions do the other councils have?
So a lot of our councils are between, I'd say 15 and 20 is the average for our councils. The leadership positions tend to be, usually it's pretty, I'd say narrow. We typically have a secretary, a treasurer, a vice president, and a president. And then as you get going, you know, a president emeritus, we would maybe have that additional role on the board. But, 4 or 5 leadership positions, I think those are ones that aren't super surprising when you hear those roles. But those are ones that most of our boards have. And like I said, 15 to 20 is about the average. And the size of the council too, like with our School of Nursing, they invite any alumni to attend, just not necessarily as a formal member of the council, so people can get involved, learn a little bit more about what the council does, so that maybe they want to formally join. So kind of depends on how we would want to do that as we move forward.
How difficult is it to maintain the active list of alums throughout the country as well as Louisville?
So let me ask what you mean by active.
Can I contribute to this discussion? Because I worked really hard with the reunion trying to reach out to my classmates, and the list was not great. I actually used a lot of other ways to try to reach people, and a lot of people didn't hear about the reunion. So I'm very interested in this topic, and I do think it's an area that I would like to work on. I think it's something the council could work on, because you seem like you're about the same year as me. The 81, I think after 81, then you started having emails that everyone checked. But anyway, I found some disconnect between the list the school had and what was really happening in my year. So I just wanted to throw that in before.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of was my experience too for our 40th. Plus, so many of our really, quote, successful alums live elsewhere, and they can mentor long distance now. You don't have to have lunch. You can meet via Zoom or on the phone, and just trying to cover all the bases of who some of the outstanding people are that would mentor, for example. That's
and if I can jump in the previous meeting, the evening one on Tuesday, we had a lot of folks who were not in Louisville chiming in for that meeting, and that is one focus definitely with this group, is that we can include anyone outside of Louisville. So we're going to build this in a hybrid method, and we would have in person, but we're also going to have virtual opportunities. And I think to your both of your points, you all helping us update that information is a key critical role. So if you have those relationships with the email address of the person that they actually use that email address, that's going to be the email address we want, not the one that is sitting in the file. So yeah, I think that's an awesome role, so that when we send out communications, it actually gets to the person specifically.
And Glenn, having you on, but Glenn is my chief of staff and is just absolutely wonderful. And he is very resourceful and very tech savvy. And between he and Caitlin and Tanya, I think that that we will be able to use a number of different types of ways to find people and connect with them, because it's hard to connect with them if you don't know where they are. To Kathy's point. So,
and we would also love to utilize the reunions as an opportunity. As this council builds and grows, I see it as a natural opportunity to connect at the reunion. And that's also a way to have an involvement components, an event, an activity that we do as a group. But the more you all can help with that data, the better. So I see that as a key role.
Yeah. And this summer, we're going to be having a really big reunion, because we've had to postpone the last 2 years. So we have like 3 groups of classes that we're having, and it's just going to be a wonderful big bash, and we're looking forward to it. Yeah. And no more variants of COVID before that. So fingers crossed.
Yes, because I was going to say, our data, when it comes to helping support you all, especially when it comes to connecting with your classmates, it's only as good, very unfortunately in a lot of ways, it's only as good as people keep it up to date. We get people's emails, like you said, early on, and they might have changed it, especially when people change roles, those get lost. So what I think you all being able to connect with your classmates and being able to give us that information if they choose to, I think that is something that we always need help with. We have so many alums, we want to make sure that we're able to connect with them on a one-on-one basis, and that will be so helpful as we get this council started, and people see it as an avenue to connect back to the university. I think that will be part of it as well, us establishing this council so that people feel like they can reach out and maybe update their information that they hadn't updated in years. So that's a really good point of, we want to make sure that we're able to support you all in that, but it can only go so far sometimes, unfortunately.
People were very excited that I reached, who hadn't had any contact with the school for years. So we had a huge number of people coming to the reunion, but unfortunately, it was Delta that wiped that one out. So yeah, so it's out there. The people are out there.
Excuse me, but I was also wondering, does the alumni put forth any kind of a potpourri of updates, like a CME program that's very broad-based, that kind of the best of the various specialties, so that there can be some merit to those who attend, as well as just learning from other specialties that you're not involved in? What's the latest, that kind of thing. I don't know if there's any kind of a program like that that exists or ought to exist.
Kathy, we have not had a program like that. I think it's a really interesting thought. And I think there's a variety of thoughts, because as I recall, the other night, the alums really weren't that interested in CME, but I think this is something unique and different that Kathy brings up, because it's not a specialty specific, and would be one of, if it was a broad-based kind of a best in show across,
that's the idea.
Across specialties. I think that might really appeal to people, and particularly those that are maybe retired from active practice or something like that. I think that would be, or even actually those that aren't. I mean, I always find things outside the specialty of ENT just absolutely fascinating, and have the opportunity to kind of see best in show all the time at the medical school. But that's a great idea.
Yep, I wrote it down, so it's on our list of potential things for sure.
I was just going to comment. I think it's great talking about the mentorship, the CME, and the different divisions that are there. I don't know if this was brought up in another meeting, but how can the alumni group actually help the medical students? So there might be a separate committee for that, whether it's the mentorship program. There might even be things of special interest. I went, like I said, I'm family medicine. I graduated in 2000, and I've been in Lexington for most of my career. And I just recently moved to Oldham County. So I was very active with our University of Kentucky. I'm an alum there from our residency program, as well as my undergraduate university. And so I joined because I wanted to just connect back with the medical school, see what types of opportunities are available, such as maybe there are physicians within our community that want to give back, whether it is through engagement with the residency program or the medical school. So maybe there's something we can create a resource list. You know, we might be able to engage alumni that way. And even then you can determine based on what the physician may be doing, they may be doing something that's unique and individual. And as what Catherine was mentioning, they might want to present, be part of the Best in Show.
Good point.
Yeah, so those are just kind of, that's the reason that I had joined. And I love hearing how everyone has a different way and how we can contribute to improve our council there. So I just appreciate being part of the meeting and this morning, yeah.
No, yes, I think your knowledge of what maybe other groups are doing as well, I think that will be valuable, because one of the things that our office always talks about at the Louisville Alumni Office is you don't have to do something just because it's another university doesn't mean that's not a good idea. Even if it is the school down 75 miles down the road, sometimes they do have some good ideas down at the University of Kentucky, and so we need to honor that as well. But we will put a cardinal on it. I guarantee you we will put the cardinal bird on it to make sure that everyone knows that we are rebranding it as ours and making it a little bit better. So
I love how you're wearing red today too.
That's fantastic. Yes. Of course.
You know, I do pay dues to University of Wisconsin and LSU and Duke and Milwaukee because of training. And one of the things that they had us do is, like back in the old days when medical students interviewed in person for positions and residencies, you could offer to host the visiting person. And our medical students will want to go out to California, New York, and we've got alums there that would probably be willing to help with that sort of thing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. That is a great idea. Tony Sims, our Director of Medical Student Affairs, had been working with some alums to do that, and I think had connected with a few, but you are absolutely right. It is so expensive for our students to go interview. Now, of course, in the last couple of years, and I think that's going to be the case this year too, the interviews have had to be virtual, but that's not going to last forever. And I believe this fall, the AAMC is going to allow a few away rotations, but even the away rotations had to be postponed because of the whole travel restriction. But this is a huge help for students. And there are several schools I know of that have very active alumni connections like that will host students. The students love it, the alumni love it. So thank you for bringing that up again.
Caitlin, with each graduating medical school class, as I recall, it was the class president who was supposed to be the contact individual going forward for each class, around reunions and what have you. Mm-hmm. How accurate and up to date is that list of those designated key contacts for classes going back to 50, 55 years ago?
So I'm not sure of what the accuracy is. I know we have that list. I think we're really about to figure out our accuracy of that list as we host 3 of our reunion cycles. And I will say too, like you said, with class presidents, they are always our first point of contact when we're planning our reunions. But some other people step up and be a class chair after they're graduating. So I can't speak to the accuracy, but I do know that I do have a file of names that I'm going to be reaching out to here in the next few weeks as we get started on planning this reunion. So I know we have a list. I think, like with our other list, there's probably as accurate as we can have them, but definitely room to grow.
And I guess the question is, with the list you have, is there a mechanism of keeping up with those who are deceased? I mean, do we scour the obituaries or notices and stuff like that, so we have some concept of how large our class is that remains?
So our development office and our IT, they update that daily. The deceased list I don't know how they do it, but they do. And so we are able to pull a list of active alums as accurate. Sometimes there are a few that have fallen through the cracks, but as we reach out to alums, we'll figure out the accuracy of them. So I am able to pull a list of who we would believe are active, but we do, to the best of our ability, keep a list of those alums who are deceased.
Caitlin, can you share the list from a specific class with an individual like my class of 73?
Yes, so I am able, I will say that because of some, rules that are higher than me, you would be kind of electing yourself as a class chair. And I'm not allowed to give out email addresses. That's actually a law, is that as a university, we are not allowed to share email addresses. Okay. But I can share a most up-to-date list that we have with you if you'd be interested, especially. I mean, it's never too early to start thinking about your reunion. So you can start seeing that class list, maybe start reaching out, make sure we have that most up-to-date information. So I'd be happy to get that list to you if you'd be interested.
Okay. Thank you.
Just as a little hint, you can go to the alumni, the sign into the university, and they have a way that you can email an individual. You don't get their email, but you can try to email them. And I got a lot of responses that way from people reaching out. So they've registered their email and they've said it's okay if someone reaches out to me. And then they usually give you their contact information. So.
Okay.
Catherine, you're just like a treasure trove of information today.
I was determined. I wanted my whole class at that reunion. I tried.
I love it. I love it. And now that you mentioned that, I'm like, oh yeah, our website does do that. But again, I'm 6 months in, so I'm still learning all of the tricks of the trade. So I really appreciate you mentioning that, so I can share that with people moving forward.
I am happy to tell you more tricks. And I also checked for obituaries before I contacted anyone, because unfortunately there were a few surprises. So anyway.
Well, does anyone have any other questions or any things that they want to share before we kind of wrap up this morning?
I have a question. I know you're not telling yet, but what time frame are you thinking of for this reunion? It's never too early for me to start getting people excited.
So it's not official, but we are looking at June. We're looking at June is when we're looking.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Caitlin, when do you think we will finalize that? Because we've discussed venues, we've discussed activities, and so I think we're almost there in terms of a date, right?
I think once we get that stamp of approval for the budget.
I'm approving it. So
yeah, well, I think we are going to be able to move forward. I think my timeline says to reach out to class chairs in the next 2 weeks. So I think we're going to really start reaching out, start getting that date out there. Now that I have the vocal confirmation, we're going to start moving forward and start reaching out to alums so that they can get it on their calendar.
See, now that I've told you I have all these witnesses, so I can't go back.
I know, yeah. We have it recorded too, Dean Gansel, so I haven't.
About to say, yeah, you're recorded now.
All right. Well, if no one has any other questions, if you do have any more, I know I am happy to answer questions based on the alumni side. I know Dean Gansel is more than happy to take questions, Glenn as well. So if you do have any, please feel free to reach out to us. Our emails are our names, just caitlin.mcguire@louisville.edu. I know that Caitlin and Mcguire are difficult to spell at times, but you can find me on our alumni website. Dean Gansel and then Glenn are on our School of Medicine website as well. Yep. And then, like I said, we will be doing a follow-up email that will have that formalized application in there. So we just be on the lookout for that. It'll probably be coming to your inboxes next week. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or if anything comes to mind of things you want to make sure that we have our notes of, you know, we talked about mentoring, we talked about hosting medical students, we talked about CMEs, we talked about a lot of different things. If anything comes to mind, please reach out to us because we want to make sure that we have that down so that we, as again, we start moving forward with this, that we have all of those things on our agenda as we start moving forward with the Alumni Council. So please feel free to reach out. I would say, Dean Gansel, do you have anything else?
No, just thanks everybody. It was wonderful seeing everyone and wonderful hearing all these great ideas. We're looking forward to getting this launched.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious. Could we get a list of all who participated in the evening session and in this session with their class year, just so we know what the interest level is, and that might give us some ideas about how to organize.
And I'm actually really glad that you mentioned that. I know that this morning there aren't as many names on the screen. However, this is not I did record this for a reason. If there are people that you think would be a great attribute to the Alumni Council, it is not too late for them to learn more, to get involved, to apply for a position on this council. So please feel free to reach out to them, send their information to me. I'm happy to reach out. We want to make sure, one of the things that I know I was texting Lisa Warner, who's our development director, the other night, is we want to make sure we get the right people on this council so that we can start it from the ground up, build off of this, because if we don't have the right people on the council coming from a variety of backgrounds, a variety of places to think about, the things to do, then we're not going to have a strong start. So if there are people that in your class or maybe classes underneath you that you've had the opportunity to meet over the years, it's not too late. I'm happy to send them the recording of this. So please feel free to send them my information. Feel free to send me their information as well. But other than that, if we don't have any other questions, I will go ahead and wrap things up so that you all can get going with the rest of your day. So thank you again so much for starting your day and learning more about the opportunity to give back to your university and to connect with each other. There's probably no better way to start the day than connecting with some University of Louisville alumni. So I really appreciate you all starting your day with us. So thank you, and look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.